here. All right, I'm gonna do things proper here. Hmm. It's time for Dr. Tachi.
Oh, is that serious, huh? That I get applause.
That's
Okay.
serious. How are you?
I'm fantastic. And you, sir?
I am first of all, love your glasses on you.
Thank you. You
Are
you know
are they are they are they new? I don't know if I've seen those before.
yeah, these are just blue light glasses. They're not prescription or anything.
It's actually I was actually looking at purchasing some.
Yeah, no, they're very easy to find all over the place. So, my thing is like when I wanted that different look, I'm like, all right, let me see what glass they come in so many different colors. So I'm like,
Yeah.
today is a blue light glasses day. And they protect your eyes from the blue light of the computer screen. So
Well, and let me ask, so how would you respond if how would you think people respond if I showed up with glasses on the show?
oh, that would be something different.
Yeah.
That would
I
definitely be
I
something
actually have a
different.
pair of reading glasses. I don't need them, but many time when I'm doing a lot of stuff in front of the screen, I put them on, but I've never worn them live before.
Mm.
So I don't know if
Try
that would
it.
I don't know if it caused too much havoc.
Maybe.
Yeah, so
that,
I'll
that
do
that might be, but I think that would be a good look. Sometimes we need a departure from the norm, what we normally do.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah.
So, you know what? Before we go any further, I was gonna do this, but I think you're the best person to talk about Indie Soup TV, please.
Sure. Well, Dr. Vibe is on the advisory board, so he would be a fine individual to talk about this. But Indie Soup Media is a full service, I would call it full service, independent content network for independent content creators. We broadcast Monday through Friday via YouTube and soon to be other YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, soon to be other places. We are still on sabbatical, but we will be coming back in June. So look for us there. But in the meantime, go to our YouTube channel and watch the plethora of fantastic shows that we have on there. We have about 30 shows that you can choose from.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. I'm glad that Dr. Tachi did that. Thank you very much. So today, and one of the wonderful things, we decided on this topic a while back, which was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Which is great, because as content creators, we don't like doing things last minute. I don't think people like doing last minute things, period.
No,
But
some people do.
it's true. And we're going to be talking today about break mainstream media shackles.
Yeah.
Become an independent content creator, which I know that's something you and I are very passionate about. I know you're very passionate, and you've been talking about this for a long time, but we're going to put it in the driver's seat today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for people and I'm going to be running, actually, you know what? I'm going to be running some polls also today. So if you are watching live, we would love to do some polls things. So I'll let Dr. Chat, you know what? Should I do a poll or no, I'll let you go first. Just go for a little bit.
Oh, okay. Well, is the poll relevant to what you want to start with? If so, go ahead.
No, it's you're driving the ship. I'm steering the ship. So whatever you want to start with, I'll follow it. So I'm cool. I'm cool.
Well, okay. So, first of all, good morning, everyone. It is a
Yeah.
glorious morning to be in media. Let me just say that. Every day is a glorious morning to be in media. Lots of things going on. Now, the thing that led me to this is that we've been talking about offline. We talked about the whole Byron Allen acquisition of BuzzFeed and Tasty, and he owns a bunch of other things. Well, just to let you know, and this is some food for thought and something to think about when it comes to mainstream versus indie. So I was reading the Daily Beast this morning, and he already has taken over Colbert's spot, Byron Allen, with Comics Unleashed. Now, I don't know, I should have checked into this, what numbers Comics Unleashed was doing ahead of time before, and I did not.
All right.
However, so I don't know what a normal Comics Unleashed usually comes on at nothing o'clock in the morning. So I
Yeah.
don't know what the numbers you normally are for people that watch it. But you're going now into Colbert's time slot. Okay, so follow me because I'm talking about mainstream media here. So you're taking something that is on mainstream media, but somewhat of an independent entity, right? And he bought the airtime for this. And
Yes.
the numbers weren't great. I think he had only about 994,000 people that watched when you're used to millions with Colbert. Now there are a couple of things for that, a couple of reasons for that. You've had the Late Show is an institution and has been on for decades. So now you're taking it and putting it in the hand, and comedy is very niche already. So you're taking it and putting it in the hands of a pure comedy show. You can argue, obviously, there's some comedy that happens on late night, but it's usually just a monologue at the beginning, not the entire thing. So now you have this Comics Unleashed is basically, it's half interview, I think, and half comedy. So I guess he thought it would fit well in that time slot. So he bought the airtime. It wasn't gifted to him. There was no deal. He physically put money down to buy the airtime. And basically, almost anybody can do that, but most people don't have the money to do that type of thing. I've known some people who have done that in the past, but that's why their shows are on at nothing o'clock in the morning, because it's cheaper. So in any case, so now you've got somebody that came into a time slot that is beloved. Colbert took the audience with him, basically. Not necessarily that we know where he's going next or any of that type of thing, but people tuned in for the Late Show, tuned in for Colbert. And now you're handing me this, right? It's like when you go to a restaurant and they're known and famous for one dish, and then they're like, well, we're out of that dish. We have this instead. Well, that's not what I want to eat tonight. I'm leaving. That's basically what that was like. And that's no indictment on Comics Unleashed, on Byron Allen, or any of that at all. It's just that you cannot force, and I'm not saying he's forcing, but you can't put that on an audience that's used to something else. You can't put shrimp on an audience that came in for mahi mahi, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And both shrimp and mahi mahi are beautiful, delicious. So that's what we're looking at there in terms of that. So what does that mean in terms of independent? This is really a case for stop begging and buying your way into mainstream media. And again, Byron Allen is mainstream media. He operates in a mainstream media sense, but what he doesn't realize is, or what he may not think about, he's great with that, but what he may not think about is that his products are very indie coded. There is a very niche audience for that. And hyper niche does not necessarily work on mainstream television because you're going for a wide audience, right? So it begs the question, where might Comics Unleashed worked better? On something he owns, right? Something that he's able to push, right? Something that where he has a built-in audience. So when we're thinking about being content creators as opposed to begging somebody else for an opportunity, that's what you have to think about. You have to think about your niche. You have to think about maybe you want to be hyper niched to draw in those people. And then you have to think about being someplace where you can draw that audience in that is not muddied by an inheritance factor of what was on before, right? So I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was very relevant to what we're talking about today.
Well, you know what? The Dr. Tachi army is here.
Hey,
they are here, and when you're hosting and producing these live streams, when you have a great friend when they share it out to their audiences in real time. So I just want to highlight Cheryl Ferguson says good morning.
Hey.
Thaddeus W. Jones Jr. That's true.
Sir.
Ron Lewis Photos. What part of the world are you in, man? Because you're a global citizen.
So
Then
I'll
we
take
have
the
Cheryl
liberty.
Ferguson
I'm
says
sorry.
again, so true. Give the audience what they want. Thaddeus says, yes, I would think he would develop something. And here's a name I haven't seen in a long time: Durham Skywriter.
Patricia.
What?
Hey,
What?
hey.
What? Okay, so I'm I'm gonna do a poll here because since we got the Dr. Tachi army in
The
here,
crew, the crew.
um,
Yes.
okay, I'm gonna run this poll. Which okay, I'm gonna change the look so people can see it. Doesn't interfere with us too much. So let's
Oh,
do.
excuse me, fancy pants.
I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy.
Oh,
I'm not
see, you're
trying.
bleaching.
Okay, it's not get. Nah, it's sort of doing what I want, but not what I want. That's okay.
It's
Well,
all
you know
right.
what? I don't mind if it cuts me off. I need to be cut off sometimes. So, if you're watching this live, we're running a poll. Do you agree that mainstream media has too much control over the narrative? Press 1 for yes, 2 for no. I mean, 2 for somewhat, it depends, and 3, no, it's exaggerated. And I'm testing out because I know the Dr. Tachi Army will probably vote. I'm going to see if it comes up on your platform because you're sharing it out, Dr. Tachi, because this will be interesting to see if it happens. But what do you think about
Yeah.
that question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but it's not new. I think people tend to think that because of the current political situation we're in, the current social and economic situation we're in, which is all tied together, that somehow this is the first time ever we've had this problem where mainstream media is not doing its job. My dear, I posit to you, they have never done their job. Never. Maybe when they were first founded back in the day, they did somewhat of a job. But again, you have nothing to compare it to because when all you have is peanuts, it tastes like steak. So maybe we thought they were, I'm just saying, maybe we thought they were doing a good job, but there is no ruler to measure them by of other things. So now I think now we're seeing more of the lackluster job that they are doing. And it's no disrespect to individual journalists. They work for corporate media, and corporate media sets the tone of the way things are. But it's up to independent journalists to say, you know, I'm really not with that narrative. I'm going to change it up. And I have to say, and I understand because people need to work, but very few are going to be like, but because look at the ones that we know that are now independent. Was it by choice or by force? And that's not shade. Well, maybe it is shade, but it's really not shade. Maybe it's really not shade because you have to ask yourself, and they should ask themselves, would they have gone out on this independent venture on their own if they were not ousted from where they were? So I'm glad they are where they are because they bring the experience, they bring the know-how, they bring the journalistic code of ethics with them when they do this. And they're able to be a lot looser in the mouth now that they're independent. But if all things were equal, would they? Oh, no. A better question is if things go back to the way they were, would they jump ship?
Good point. Good point. Just to update, it seems that I don't know this if this. So I see some people have voted. It's not, and I see that you voted on your YouTube platform. It didn't show up.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling it's only on the platforms that I am hosting. I don't know if it'll accept outside. So keep on voting, people. Actually, we'll see what's going on. But we got a lot of people in the house. So
Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you all for being here.
yeah, thank you for sharing it out. So
Absolutely.
things here, C Nurse K says, good morning, Dr. Vi, Dr. Tachi,
Hey.
and the Morning Vibe family. Morning to you back in your wonderful family. Durham Skywriter says, I don't get the impression they know what the narrative is. Ron Lewis Photo says, yes, Dr. Tachi, the media has always ... Okay, I think being behind the ball. Cheryl says, talk now, Dr. Tachi, talk now. Thaddeus says, right, it is exaggerated because there's no real way to measure. You had to answer your question. Force by force. LOL. Thaddeus says, I don't think they would because they were comfortable with money and access. And JJ Mars, the billionaire oligarchs eventually control it.
Yeah,
there you go.
Exactly, because here's the thing. We're so satisfied with the little pieces of eight that they throw out to us, scrambling on the ground trying to get them like it's a piñata that you've broken open trying to get the money, that we're satisfied with the Mike and Ikes, the now laters and all the rubbish that falls from there instead of actually going for the real thing. We are satisfied. And I don't want to be too hard on people because I do realize we live in a society that requires payment, you getting paid rather, in order to succeed, in order
Yeah.
to for you to be comfortable and live life to the fullest. I do understand that, but I'm asking, at what point does it become a compromise of one's values, morals, and way of life to say, you know what? I can't stand this, but I'm going to do it anyway. All of these places had to start from somewhere. And I'm thinking in my head right now, Kathy Hughes, who has
Yeah.
Radio One, who's TV One, one of the largest conglomerates of media, and she started at Howard. I always have to shout out Howard. That's what we do. So
Bisons.
Howard Bison for life. So she started off sleeping on the floor of her radio station at Howard, right? WHUR. She started, sleeping on the floor there. And eventually she got to the point where she is now. So it didn't start off like that with her. And I think sometimes some of us want to start at the top. We're not willing to and it takes work.
Do the work.
And this is to content creators as well. I know it seems like, and we'll talk about the reality of sustaining yourself with content creation in a bit, but I know it seems like there are lots of people who, if they could do it, I could do it. You can, but you may not get the same payoff that they do. So you have to, think about that as well.
Okay. Things are firing here. They're just like, this is one of those days I wish I had a producer, but it's okay. We got
it's coming. How do you say in Jamaica? Soon come.
Soon come. All right, let's look at some. The comments are just flying here. Okay, no, I didn't want that. Okay, let me just do something here. Bear with me, family. Okay, Ron Lewis says, be hard on people. Don't step back. Thaddeus says, absolutely, it is harder to be independent, and we are a society of comfort. Not knowing where the next money is coming from can cloud integrity. Very good comment. If it wasn't wrong to start with core values. Cheryl Ferguson says, do the work. I have a conversation piece for you, Dr. Tachi.
I'll take it.
Like about saying, when we say mainstream media shackles, what does that mean to you as a media scholar and creator?
That's really poignant here. So we're talking about the brace, the stronghold that corporate, and when I say mainstream, that's corporate media, has on the public, right? Both as viewers, audience members, and as creators. So my original thought process with this was I am tired. And these people mean well. Let me preface it with this. Let me give the preamble that these individuals mean well. They are not meaning to shade you when they do it. Or maybe they are, but for the most part, I don't think so. When I keep seeing comments underneath videos like, oh my gosh, you're so good. At Netflix, you should give this at Tyler Perry, you should give the Tyler Perry Studios, please give this person a chance. But you are here watching it on their channel. So inadvertently, are you trying to tell them that this platform that they have built is not good enough? When then does the creator start to question, is this not enough? Do I need to start reaching for the star? Because it's an oxymoron, but you're here watching me. Right? And it's not about having the billions of people watching you that are just watching you casually. It's about building real community. And that is the thing that independent media, particularly on social platforms, has over mainstream media. You can build real community. So if we look at mainstream examples where they've been able to do that, remember Scandal?
Yes.
So Scandal. And by the way, Shonda Rhimes, I still blame you for writing this whole thing into existence. It's you and your dastardly pen. That is the reason we're suffering right now. I'm just kidding. Love Shonda Rhimes. But with Scandal, if you notice, there was second screen action going on. And what I mean by that is, in addition to watching television sets, people were also, at the time, tweeting about what was happening on Scandal.
Yes, that was a big thing for that show.
Huge. People were hosting Twitter parties, right? Their own Twitter conversations. I hosted a few, not on Scandal, but just in general, because it was such a big thing. So you have your Twitter, people are responding back and forth. So this was before the age of social audio, where you could do those types of things, right? But then when social audio came about, you know, Kevin, my podcast partner and good friend, and he also happens to be on the advisory board for Indie Soup Media. He also hosted on Anchor. We used to do Gnome-Flix movie night.
Yes.
So we would pick a movie and we would be talking back and forth, and we would start it at the same time and we would add our things. We're like, I can't believe she wore that outfit, you know, and so on and so forth. So we had a lot of second screen going on, but that's forming community. Scandal had a huge following because there was a community built around it. That's what media takes. What's happening now is that now that we know better, now that we know peanuts are not steak, we could go straight for the steak. We don't have to settle for peanuts. No disrespect to peanuts. I love peanuts and I don't even eat steak, but that's the point. Did I answer your question? I'm just going.
Yeah, no, I noticed we're going to have some fun here because I got some more conversations, but I want to make sure everything you wanted to share today gets out. But I just want to get more comments here. Thaddeus says, let's keep it real. It's all business to folks. The problem is that they don't understand business ownership and the capitalist society we live in. It's ownership over everything that gives you control.
Yeah.
Lewis says, we watch the TV and use social media.
Yes.
And then that's what helped us open the door to the microwave we are getting ready to see.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely.
And Ron Lewis goes, bullseye, Dr. Tachi, bullseye, bullseye. All right, I got another conversation piece for you.
Yes.
Is the mainstream media the enemy, or is it more complicated than that for independent creators who still rely on coverage and clips?
It is not the enemy. I don't want to, I hope you're not, people are not getting the idea that get off my lawn, down with me. Not at all. I think corporate ownership has been the thorn in the side of mainstream media, because corporate ownership then sets the narrative, because obviously they're not going to put on or push things that are anti them or anti, anti whoever. So I think corporate ownership is the problem, not the media itself. Because let's be clear, all of us that are independent, all of us, you, like anybody watching today, this exists because mainstream media was first, right? So mainstream media walked so that we could begin to run. And I would say we're running, it's a fast jog at this point. Right? A fast jog. So it is not the enemy. It is not the problem. The problem is greedy corporate ownership. Greedy corporate ownership. It's hard to find examples of corporations that are not greedy, because many of them are publicly traded and shareholders demand revenue or dividends, I should say.
Yeah.
But so to answer your question, I don't think it is, because I think they can work in tandem. They can work in tandem, but I will say this. Working in tandem for mainstream media and sometimes mainstream media personalities often means we're taking this over and now it's just us again. So there's a gentrification of independent media platforms that's happening. And first of all, I love it because I think there's room in the space for everyone, but Yeah, life's not fair. But is it fair when you've already had a leg up because you've been on mainstream media and you've been the one whose narrative has been pushed forever? And now you're like, well, you know what? I'm going to start a podcast on YouTube. And here you come. Now, the good thing is you're bringing your audience. But the other thing is you're also drawing eyes from other places. So it just becomes a whole thing of, so where do you want the original creators to live? It's gentrification, it's media gentrification. And I'm not saying that it cannot work together. And sometimes the gentrifiers don't fully know what they're doing and don't care sometimes.
True. Ron Lewis says, amen, Dr. Tachi. These content streets are work.
Hey.
And Thaddeus says, no, not the enemy at all. Intentional lack of voices and oppressive control is.
100%.
This is good. Dr. Kat, I could go keep on going, but I know there's things you want to get out there, but well, I don't want to get in your way. There's lots.
No. You get. I like this. I do want to say to the audience and to you, first of all, thank you. But this is why you need to surround yourself with people who will help you grow. This audience, these people, all of it. Now, Thaddeus, this is a funny thing. I met Thaddeus one time at ABFF in Miami. I can't remember which year it was, but I met him. I was struggling with, it was the year I was covering ABFF. So I had all my equipment and so we just got into a conversation. And ever since then, so this had to have been like 2014, I think. Wow. So it's been well over 10 years. And so thank you for still following and believing in what I do. And he does some amazing projects as well, creates films, etc. But these are the types of people you need to surround yourself with in the media streets, right? Mm-hmm. In the virtual social media and media streets. Surround yourself with people like this. There are other people, but the people that watch me, that show up for me, those are the people that I consider to be the community that I know will be there for me. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Cool. Give me an example of a news story that changed how you personally look at mainstream outlets.
A news story that changed how I look at mainstream?
How you look at it. Probably, there's many out there, but I'm sure in your, like, you've been very much a driver for a long time about independent creation. Was there stories or was there a moment you said, you know what, it's time to flip the script?
That made me flip the script, or just in general talking about it?
Made you flip the script.
I don't think it was a news story. It was a moment.
Okay, what was the moment, if you're comfortable?
So, because let's be clear, many news stories have been iffy since the beginning. Not everyone. There's wonderful journalists that do, but I think when I was pitching Mediascope at a pitch summit in Atlanta, and I had my pitch deck ready. I had the show crossed. Mediascope is like this show versus this show. And by the way, whenever you're pitching a show, one thing that you want to do is let people know what it's like in terms that they can understand. So if there are, and everybody, well, my show is different. It is not. There is something like it out there. You're just not the host. So we have to stop thinking that what we're doing is so groundbreaking and different, because often there was something that was a precursor. So think of something that already exists, whether it's in the digital media space, whether it's on mainstream television or radio, whatever the case is, and pick two shows that it's like this meets this. So I'll tell you, I was like, it's like, did I say Anthony Bourdain? Listen, I can't remember, but it was so long ago. But it's like, you could say it's like Anthony Bourdain meets Hot Ones, right? The show on YouTube. So you can do that type of thing because it gives the people you're pitching to an idea, because they probably know those two shows, and they're able to picture, okay. And then you also go to demonstrate what you add to the space, how yours is slightly differs, right? So to get back to the question, when I went to pitch, no one knew what to like. I kept getting told, oh, well, well, we don't do digital, but such and such does, or
Mm,
they didn't know what to do with it. And
mm,
this was in 2018. So I said in 2018, in the year of our Lord, you people don't know what to do with digital. That's when it hit me. I'm like, yeah, this is not going to be the way I go. It can't be, because none of them understand it. And this has existed for a good while now. So 2018, if you think about it, 2015 was when Periscope and Meerkat debuted, and we started having regular old run of the mill people doing live things. So it had been at least 3 years to let me, which let you know. And then YouTube slowly started to come around to it. So this lets me know you're not paying attention to what's happening in the totality of media. You care about your small niche, and that's it. And that is not a good business model. That's when I
mm.
knew, I can already see this is not going to work for me. Now, does that preclude me from ever participating in mainstream media? No. If somebody wants to do something, fine, sure. Howsoever, I'm not begging for it, because I already know they're not futurists. They're just now jumping up. Remember the whole vertical drama thing, the
Mhm.
verticals and the short type form things. Now, I will say Quibi was before its time. Quibi gave up way too quickly. They shuttered after 6 months. I will say not all the shows were quality on Quibi, because Kevin and I did a whole, they gave you like some ridiculous, it was like we had like a whole month or 2 months free of Quibi. So we watched everything on there and we did reviews for the podcast. So not everything was great. What it felt like was that they just took something that was long form and chopped it up into bits. And that's not the way you do short form vertical content. But they were ahead of their time and they had something there. But because it was run by, was it Jeff Katzenberg and a couple of other people, their mainstream media, they could not see the vision past, this is not going to make money tomorrow, so we're shuttering the whole thing. And they're the wrong type of
Mm.
content. Nobody gives a damn about seeing what's John Legend's wife's name, Chrissy Teigen, be a
Yeah.
judge. We don't care. They want to see other people that are like them doing things. That's why TikTok is such a hit.
That's why YouTube yeah, and with that hit, that's why YouTube went heavy on shorts,
Correct.
right? That's why,
Correct.
to the point that they are driving short form. Well, they're always changing their algorithm, but most people these days think short form content is what YouTube is driving now.
Yeah, there, because more people will watch it. If you think about it, when you always have when you're watching YouTube and you're watching the shorts, what do? You just keep flipping through.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important that platforms like this also broadcast in
Vertical
vertical,
and
because
horizontal. Yeah.
it can be discovered. It's about discoverability, right? So the original answer to your question was, that was the moment that I realized that this was not the way. That was not the
Okay.
way.
Uh, all right. So looking at your journey also too, what did
Yeah.
you get, or did you get from mainstream? Okay, let me rephrase this.
Take your time.
I'll change this a little bit and get off your journey a bit. Digital content is fragmented across clips, shorts, and reels. Does that
Mhm.
make it easier or harder for audiences to get the truth or get value?
I like that question, and my answer is it depends. It depends. Well, I think we have to take so much of the onus off of the platform itself and onto the individual, realizing full well that our microwavable society has necessitated that we consume things in clips. And our world also moves so fast that sometimes you feel like you don't have time for the full story. So I'm realizing that, but it's a cop out. You are in charge of your own education. You are in charge of getting the full story. So does it make it harder? Yes, if you're the type of person that doesn't want to dig deeper. It's always been on you anyway. It's always been on us. It has always
Mhm.
been on us, the audience, to learn more. We cannot say, and again, being a media professor and understanding media effects, I understand that media has huge effects on the way we think and the way we behave. But at some point, the individual has to take responsibility for their own information gathering and own information seeking. So the other side of this is you've got something like, okay, you've got the short. Let's take YouTube. You've got your full video, right? And then you cut it up into short content for the audience to consume, taking usually the best bits of it, right, for the audience to consume. But YouTube has a way that you can link that to the full video,
Yes.
and it's clear.
Yes.
So if you're the type of person that is interested in hearing the entire story, click the link and go to the full video and watch.
It's interesting. A trend I'm seeing some people doing now is they're creating YouTube channels just of shorts.
Yes, yes, that is a thing that a lot of people like. You watch Nick Nimmin.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
Roberto Blake is
Blake,
another
yes,
person.
yes,
There are lots of YouTube people. Also, Nikki Saunders
yes,
is another person. She's great
yes.
too. These are all people that really preach the gospel of YouTube in addition to other things, but they have all.
Do I have your permission to interrupt?
Yeah.
It's interesting because Nikki is a recent person because Nick and Roberto have been much longer term because Nikki was
been in
much
the
more
game.
IG, all that, but now she's come over to the YouTube family and TikTok. She's become a pursued YouTube.
Yes, she's pursued you because she sees this is where you can really, YouTube is really the only place where you can have mass discoverability. I mean, even aside from the algorithms, if you search properly for something you're looking for, YouTube, because it's Google, right?
Yeah, there you go. A lot of people don't realize that.
Exactly, that the second largest search engine
is
YouTube, right? For now, anyway.
Yep.
So, you know, it is easy to discover things, or easy enough to discover things. And if you want to dig deeper, you can.
Okay. The Dr. Tachi army is flooding my comments. So let's get
let's stay.
You inspired me to complete my PhD.
I did.
Wow.
Did you finish it? You never said anything.
He said he completed. He completed. He said you inspired me to complete.
Well, he may be in the process.
Did he complete it? He'll tell us. That's true. He'll tell us.
Tell us. That's wonderful.
Cheryl says absolutely. Also for real. Thaddeus says I'm actually working in writers' rooms pitching micros to stars.
Oh, fantastic.
And Cheryl says always keep learning all aspects of the industry processes. Absolutely. Another great person that we don't throw these names for no, but another good person is Kirk Nugent.
Yeah, Kirk Nugent, definitely.
And I'll put it out there because he's been so helpful for me. Every 2 weeks at 1 p.m. Eastern time, he does something called Coach's Corner. You can log in and ask him questions in real time. And
it's fantastic.
He has a community that you can join for free where you can ask questions amongst people. Been huge growth opportunity for me that I really encourage. And if people need to know the link for it, please tell me and I'll get you to join. But Kirk has been so helpful in regards to, especially just growth. He's so giving. He is so giving. Thaddeus says yes, and Cheryl says do what works. No one gets paid for doing the wrong thing for a long time. Ooh, you got some fire going on here today in the room.
Yes.
What?
Wait a minute. Dr. Vibe, so Thaddeus has an answer.
Yes, Thaddeus is says, no, I am complete 2020. He completed it.
Congratulations, Dr. Jones.
He completed it.
I know you never said anything because I had no clue. Although, like in the field we work in, a doctorate is not compulsory. You don't have to have one. So lots of people just don't talk about it. But Talk about it. You have a
Yeah.
credential now that puts you miles above a lot of other creators. So use that.
Oh,
Congratulations, my friend.
okay. So thanks for the link. Thanks. The link for Kurt, please. Okay. I will try and find it during this conversation, but I would say definitely. All I say is when you join the community, just say that Dr. Vibe referred you. That's all I ask. But definitely get involved in his community. He is so good. And like,
Kurt is
do you know who his mentor is?
Kirk's? No.
Yes. Okay, let me see if I can get the gentleman's name right, because he's a very big Omar. What's his last name?
Oh, Omar. Yes, Omar the church guy. That's what I call him. Or Omar
that is his mentor.
Oh, Omar. And Omar is another one. And
Very
actually,
oh yes. Oh,
Omar, he's the one that I heard talking about creating an entire shorts channel. To your point before, I heard it from Omar first.
Yeah, I'm gonna proactively, while we're doing this conversation, see if I can provide the link for Kirk. I would again suggest you join on. It's huge. Do you have other things to share? Because I got more things I want to ask you.
No, go ahead. Because the thing is, what I want to talk about will come up inadvertently. We're usually on the same.
Yeah.
point.
Okay.
Go ahead.
There was a conversation piece I wanted to ask before, so I'll see if I can get it through straight. What did you get from mainstream or institutional media that you don't get in the independent space, and what freedoms did you gain by going indie?
What did I get? So I got how do we put methodology?
Okay.
Systems. The way things are done. So even though I do what the hell I like on Indie Soup Media, if you notice, when I ask you all to send me things, I ask for them in a certain format. That format is something that I got from mainstream media, right? The time slot and the timeliness of the way we do things. We basically stretch and take liberties. I'm not strict so much with time, but there are different time slots. It's just like if you keep going, guess what? Another show is going to play as you're going. But I get those types of time slots from mainstream media. But I've taken it and I've changed it to whereas not just a half-hour show or a 60-minute show. I'm like, I take anything between 3 minutes and 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a range of different types of content that can go in there. And that's something that mainstream media doesn't do because, I mean, frankly, the way it's set up, they can't. That's not what they're set up for. So that's what I've gotten from them. Methodology, I would say.
Okay.
But in terms of the freedom I don't have to listen to anybody. I don't have to listen to them. I don't have to do a particular thing. I can let's talk about who mainstream media values. They value older people because it is legacy. And those are the people, especially like a CBS. That's the nursing home station, and no disrespect to nursing homes, but that's who the demographic is basically that watches it, right? People that are able to stay home all day, etc. There's more than that, but generally it skews very much older. And then you've got things like TikTok, things like social that skew very much younger. And then you've got people in between. First of all, like Gen X is always forgotten, right? Elder millennials are always forgotten because they're like just at the cusp with Gen X. So I feel like I kind of fill in that gap for people that are Gen X, elder millennials. It could be for anyone, but I feel like I kind of fill in that gap because that's basically who the creators are, like Gen X and millennials.
Okay. So next conversation, please. Okay. So, and this is a good question for the independent content creators. Why is networking with other indie creators just as important as the content itself?
because we are who we have in the space. And you cannot exist on an indie island by yourself. You will be watched by only yourself. So you need to connect with other indie creators for the same reason that anybody connects with everyone, to extend your creativity, to do partnerships, etc. So you need other people just for the same reason you network with other people, to see how your connections can be mutually beneficial. And it's especially needed in the indie space.
Okay. Got a good answer there. Okay, so who was so Cheryl was asking. So I'm gonna put it up on the screen.
Okay.
There is a link for Kirk Nugent's community called the No Edit Creator Lab. And
yeah, I'm in it.
Yeah, and he's really good. And I'm gonna put it in the chat for everybody. But again, if you join, just say that Dr. Vibe sent you. All right. I would appreciate that. But I would say, again, every second Wednesday, he just did 1 2 days. And he's also on YouTube, also does a lot of great content, a lot of great. Now, I will say for some people, he is faith-based. He's very much into his faith. So if that turns you off, whatever. But I would say forget about a lot of the stuff that he shares is incredible stuff. And like I said, during his Coach's Corner, you can ask anything.
Absolutely.
And also when you become part of some community, he does that live every 2 Wednesday thing. And it's also live on YouTube. But if you're a member of the community, you get into his Zoom room, and then he prioritizes people who are in the Zoom room first in regards to asking questions.
And here's the thing with being faith-based. It's not in this overly evangelical, falling out, speaking in tongues, faith-based type of. So if you think that's what, not at all. It is not an oxymoron for, to marry the two. And in fact, I think especially for him, this just makes him, this makes what he does that much better, because he doesn't it's not, every word is not scripture. Does that mean, I mean, and if that's somebody's vibe, that's fine. But we also have to realize that not everybody is Christian. And even for people that aren't Christian, they would be fine with it. So that's what I mean by that.
Yeah, I like I said, he has been so helpful for me, family. I mean, so helpful. Again, everyone has their own take, but for me, he's been fantastic. And I know Dr. Tachi's watched some of his broadcasts also.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she'll endorse him also.
100%. Love Kirk Nugent.
Absolutely. All right, more comments here. Let's do. Okay, actually, I got another question then. What are the advantages of being for you an independent network versus trying to go viral alone?
Virality is fleeting. You can have virality is very, and here's the thing, that's very niche, right? Because if we look at how many people may have gone viral once, but then they don't go viral again, or they get less quote unquote viral, because it's usually based off of one specific thing. It's not the totality of the body of your work. So that's what you have to think about it as. Viral is one video.
Yep.
Network, whether it's my network or the videos you create in totality, your body of work, that's the body of work that gets considered, that forms a foundation for you being a content creator. You may have something go viral because you stumbled, you fell, and then you did something or you did something clever. Fine. Is that what you want to be known for all the time? Probably not. So it's about the body of work. And if
it's a long game.
It's a long game. And some people, and viral is relative. You may have 50 subscribers on YouTube, and then you put out a video and 5,000 people watch it. For you, that's viral.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I'll be honest. I'll give a perfect example. So 2 months ago, Dr. Tachi and Laura Lala Key were on Primetime Saturday. it had over 15, almost 15,000 views. That's nice, but I gotta keep, that's not gonna drive me forever and ever. It's nice to have. Of
Right.
course, I put that video up as my featured video, but the consistency, that's the moment people are looking and say, okay, is he doing stuff consistently? Like there are many a person when they see me these days going, man, I remember when you just started out and you're still doing this stuff. You're amazing. It's a long game, and like Thaddeus's comment, rigor and standards.
Right. In terms of what I got from mainstream media, definitely rigor and standards. Having, you know, sometimes, and that's the thing. That's the other thing, the different thing about independent media, the fact that, and I'm torn on this because I'm coming from the world of rigor and standards when it comes to
Yes.
the look of the video, etc., the way it sounds, etc. And then there's the other end where some people don't care because as long as the message is good, you'll have an audience. Some of the most viral videos and most watched creators don't give a damn about about the tech end of their video. But I submit that if you care about your audience, you should put your best foot forward and you should care how it looks. But the reality is there are people who don't, and they're still doing it. You know, they're still getting audience. So they figure, well, if this is working, why do it? But that's what I got from mainstream media as well, rigor and standards. And at some point you do something and somebody wants to put it on mainstream video or mainstream media. This is going to look a lot better than the Fisher-Price camera that you use.
Fisher-Price. Haven't heard that in a minute. Fisher-Price. Okay. Some more comments. Cheryl says, great point, legacy. Look who's in the house. Frequency Event Promotion says, hi, Dr. Vibe. Also says, hi, Dr. Tachi. Of course, he goes, did someone say networking? Yes,
Of course.
he did say that. Ron Lewis says, consistency matters. Absolutely. Thaddeus says, excuse me, it is the reason I don't do more videos. I don't do more, videos sometimes. Yep. Good question. We got Thaddeus LOL also says, Dr. Tachi, I would like to work with you and Dr. Vi to create a networking event exclusive for creatives and more. You contact us offline.
Yeah.
Seener's
I like the sound of that.
Dr. Tachi, oh, this is, and she did a video. So she was on the Dr. Vibe show on Primetime talking about this lately. And also you did a solo video. What are your thoughts on influences being able to trademark the title of doctor, specifically for those who don't? Well, before she answers, because I know she's going to go in on it, she was on Primetime Saturday. Was it last Saturday talking about that?
No, Saturday before.
2 Saturdays about that. So go check it out. And also I saw you did a solo video. Was it this week on that?
No, that was actually before Primetime.
Okay, so she is, but you know Dr. Tachi will give her thoughts here. So Dr. Tachi,
yes, I do want to say hello to Ann Ellis.
Oh, okay. Hi,
Ann
Ellis.
How are you, Ann?
Can I just say something before you? I want you to process some thoughts. Okay, yes. I am not a real doctor. Okay, my name online is Dr. Vi, so I am not. Because sometimes when people on interviews, they go, "Where do you a doctor?" No, it's my online persona. So I am not a real doctor. So I will I'll just say, unlike some others, I'm not a real doctor, just an online persona. Dr. Tachi, I will now let you have the floor.
Well, Dr. Dre is not a real doctor either.
There you go.
It's one thing about using that as a name. And I think when people use that, you're using that as a moniker to indicate that you are proficient in what it is that you do. And that's fine. I think that's fine as like a brand name or whatever. All of that. I don't know. Was Dr. Bronner, and I love the soap, was Dr. Bronner actually a doctor? I'm not sure. But I think when you use that, it indicates expertise. And that's what people go for, which is fine. But what you're not doing is saying that you have a doctorate in psychology, and this is what actually gives you the credence and the credibility to be able to diagnose, discuss, etc. You're not doing that. That's very different than what some charlatans are doing. And these snake oil salespeople use our trust in credentials and the title doctor to defraud. And defraud not just monetarily, but in terms of giving up our trust to an individual because we think we know what they're talking about. And there are still some people, on the one individual that I'm thinking of in particular, there are still some people that are doubling down. Oh, they're just jealous. Jealous of what? I was talking with my good friend, Dr. Nikita Harris, who is in charge of the National Black Debutante Project. I was talking with her, and she mentioned that, and somebody said, well, do you think it's because of jealous? She was like, jealous of what and who? Because she's doing well. She said, I'm doing well. So I have to laugh because I'm like, that is so Nikita to talk that way. But you know, I think the thing with this is when you are using your title to defraud individuals or to prop yourself up as having more expertise in an area or field than you actually do, then it's fraud. This is fraud, especially if you're collecting money under this guise, which many people have done because you have a book, you have courses, you get paid for your appearances on XYZ show. So you are defrauding the public and whoever is there. But we also have to stop being stupid and looking for golden donkeys. I don't know if that's a thing, but I'm making it a thing now. Stop looking for golden donkeys. We're constantly looking to outside forces and not doing that. We talked about this earlier, right? Doing the research, doing the work. We're not doing the work to ensure who this individual is who they purport themselves to be. And often they're not. So influencers trademarking the title of doctor. So there's one, let's just say her name, Cheyenne Bryant. She actually trademarked Dr. Bryant. Now, if it was for a brand of products or whatever that was not connected to the fact that she is putting herself out there as an expert in this, that's different, because doctor in that sense, in the brand sense, is like an expertise in XYZ. They're not trying to defraud the public into thinking that they're a doctor, an actual doctor of psychology or whatever it is. But for her, because she has been on this world tour on this tour actually to promote the book, and she's been doing this for a while. This is not new. She's been calling herself doctor since forever and cannot produce any receipts as to the fact, and feels she doesn't have to. That's fine. That's not my argument. Mine is real. So it is what it is. You could go to Howard University's library and look for my dissertation. It's there. So it's not that first case. It's a problem when you're using it to defraud. And yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. My only thing with that is there are other people who are actually Dr. Bryant. And so when you do something like that, you are taking away a chance for them to be able to use their actual name in branding, unless it's related to something different, right? So there could be like a Dr. Bryant brand of cleaning products, right? Because there's no confusion in the marketplace with what she does. But if somebody wanted to use that as a brand, an actual Dr. Bryant, now there would be a problem. So that's where I have an issue with it.
Okay. Let's catch up here. Cheryl Ferguson says, hey, lady, thought about you last night. Let's catch up.
Absolutely.
Thaddeus says, oh, here we go. I feel a certain way. It's hard to work to earn this title.
Yes.
Work to earn this title. And also says, I've been good missing the group. Thaddeus says, yes, not grifting. Well, some people say the grifting starts at the top of America right now, but that's a whole other conversation. Foodman says, oh, wow, you're still on. Cool. I had to step up. Well, Dr. Tots here, you know, we go full. He says, Dr. Pepper and Dr. Zeus are not real either. LOL, I meant practicing as other if they're experts. Well, she covered that.
Yeah.
Ron Lewis says, golden donkeys, smiles.
That's going to be a thing now. Stop looking for golden donkeys.
And Thaddeus says product or brand, cool, not services in the psychological services.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Exactly.
I agree with that. I agree. Not in the psychological services.
Or anything. I don't want you. My doctorate is in mass communication. It's in communication. Actually, more specifically, communication and culture with a specialty in mass media. That's what it is in. So even if it's in that, I don't want you pretending at all that you're an expert in anything. So your choices are this: go and do the work, or stop calling yourself doctor. The choice is yours. Because what we don't want is for this now to get to a legislation point, like Nigeria has banned people from using honorary doctorates as a way to get jobs, get influence, etc. Because I know my people now. In Niger, we like title too much. So I know how we do. They love if you've never been to anything.
Same here. Same in the Caribbean. Big thing. Big thing.
Huge
Big
thing.
So,
huge thing. Which is why people do it. Which is why people pretend or perpetrate.
Anne says, yes, do the work in capital letters. Thaddeus says, we should totally do that here. I agree. We should totally do that here also.
Listen, shut down all these Bible colleges. I'm not shut them down, but shut off their ability to give doctorates. When I'm just going to say it now, this is no disrespect to what these individuals do. Trina, Trick Daddy, Chris Brown, fine. Some school chose to give you an honorary doctorate for doing whatever you do because they think it's the greatest, but yours is not the same as mine. So what you're not going to do, Sheree Whitfield, She by Sheree, is call yourself Dr. She by Sheree and think it's the same as mine, because it's not. Or think it's the same as Thaddeus's. It is not. It's actually an insult, a grave insult, for you to go around taking an honorary doctorate that was given to you because of great. And then I question some of these institutions that are giving these honorary doctorates. I'm like, my friend, don't you know you're being used? They're using you to prop themselves up, and you eat it up because you love titles so much. Stop it. Sorry.
And I know earlier I missed a comment. So Ron Lewis is back in the United States. So good to hear you're
He's
back
on this side of
the world. So that is good. And Thaddeus says, right, agreeing with Dr. Tachi. Let me just pull this out here. So how can Black and brown creators especially use networks to counter mainstream erasure or stereotyping?
So many ways. I think, first of all, you've got to band together. The whole premise behind Indie Soup Media was using the power of many to raise all of our voices, right? Work together. So even if you're not on a network like ours, Indie Soup, work together with other creators. Have them on your pod. There should be, and not just a physical network, but there should be a network of, like how you have a speakers bureau and you have the names of different speakers. There needs to be that for independent creators, and then specifically for independent melanated creators, right? That you could, I want this, and because I do that now. I'll be watching YouTube and I'm like, oh wow, this person is great. That's how I got the young lady from the planner aisle to come on. It was last year, and she talked about planning for your next year, because her whole channel is like a faceless channel about planners and planning. I'm like, come on and let's talk about doing that, and we can make it specific to content. This is somebody that I don't know, but I saw her and saw she's an independent creator and thought that her information would be useful for the audience. We've got to do more of that. Instead of always looking for, how can I get to the assistant of, and the junior assistant of, to get to this big personality. I'm not saying don't do that. Do that, that's fine. But some people are only concerned with having celebrity on their programs. And most of the world is not celebrity. Most of the world is like us. Most of the world wants to hear the experiences of people like us. that just happen to go ahead and start creating content on something that they are passionate about and want an audience to be passionate about as well. So that's what I say. Make sure that you're seeking out other creators, other melanated creators, going on their shows, going on each other's shows, having networking type things. So even if it's through Zoom, right? There are a few that I've seen that you could do groups that are on places like Facebook, Mighty Networks, School. There are all sorts of groups for independent creators that exist. Join them. Be an active part of them. Do it.
You've got to experiment, right?
Yeah.
So people, hey, if it doesn't work for you, no. Like again, I use Kirk Nugent and also a lady named Tanya Smith. They're not the first people I've like hung out with, and there were others that I said, I'm just not getting the value. And to believe it or not, I'm getting more value from the smaller communities as much as the bigger ones.
Yeah.
More. Right? Now, Nick Nimmin is a rare thing because every Saturday he does 3 hours. You can ask anything about YouTube, him and his brother. And they've been doing this for years. And they will and they have a very engaged community. And Nick I really respect him and his brother. Again, Tanya Smith, Kirk Nugent. But but the thing is, just like AI, don't overwhelm yourself. Have a few and just go with them because you can get overwhelmed with it very easily. Very easily. Okay, Food Plane says, I saw something where now underneath your video, they will have an icon that will say AI to inform you that there is AI in the video. Even if there is a half a second of AI used in your video to get that. Yes, I've heard about that. But Food Plane also has a question. What are your thoughts on YouTube, how YouTube is handling AI integration in videos? Too aggressive? Your thoughts?
So when it comes to that, labeling of that, so even if it's a little bit, I do feel that the audience needs to know when AI is being used. I do, but the way it makes it seem sometimes as if the whole thing is AI, and that's simply not true. And that's because the task is so arduous for them to be able to do that rather than putting a percentage and singly doing it one by one, they just put a whole blanket thing over it. So what they need to do is they need to refine that process so that maybe if it does go by percentages, so that there's a thing, this video has up to 25% AI content, 10% AI content, so that there are percentages so people can be informed of because there is a backlash against AI. If you haven't seen now, there's a huge backlash against AI. I think some of it is misunderstanding of AI and what it can do. And I think it's also the narrative that's being pushed by people we already don't like. Right? These big corporate entities that people already don't like because we're in this financial state now that many of us blame them for, right? And selling us out for. So we already don't like you. So now you open your mouth to talk about AI is the future. Shut up. That's the problem. That's the problem right there.
Okay. Cheryl asks, what's the planner lady's name, Dr. Tachi?
Oh, it's Kel Naylor. Kel, and Naylor is Naylor. So she's on, she has a great channel on YouTube. She's on Instagram. So Kel Naylor, she's so wonderful. I reached out to her and right away. So this was not this past December, but the December before she came on the show. Really nice.
Wonderful. Next up, Food Plane says, I was just thinking about if you use certain percentage that you would icon, perhaps 3% or more, you get the icon. I would be cool with that. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just say what it is, laziness. Not even just laziness, but not wanting to spend money on the resources to make that happen. It is easier just to put a blanket, slap a blanket label on it than to actually take the time to dissect how much of this is. But there's going to be pushback, more pushback by creators of like, no, it's only a little bit of the intro that's and the rest is real. You can't put so the more pushback, the more they're going to be forced to actually come up with a real system of ratings that is more reflective of how much AI actually exists inside a video.
So Fuma says, so if you has 50% or more AI, then you get the icon. Okay.
Yeah, well, because half your video.
Yeah, and thank you. And actually, Foodplan, I can relate because there is a tool that I use, and I'll put out there called Opus Agent.
Agent Opus.
Pardon me?
Agent Opus.
Agent Opus, sorry, Agent Opus. And what it does is it creates text to video. And I use it especially for the Saturday show that I do. And when I first started saying it, should I include the watermark? Should I not? So I've left the watermark on because it's created by AI. And at first I was, maybe I should kick up, but you know what? The people who watch the show, they're more concerned about the content that's given than seeing the watermark.
It's just, yeah, no, exactly. When I use Agent Opus, I always take it off.
Yeah.
But that's because I'm using it to create for someone else.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
You have to think about when it's appropriate to keep it on and when it's not. This is for you, so it makes sense. So I think, though, that it's disingenuous to think that if there is a way to explain things to people where you don't have to spend hours editing, because listen, I could make those same videos that AI makes, but it will take me a few hours. And that's not a good use of my time. I would not be a good steward of my time if I did that. So when you are able to use AI to help in that endeavor, why not? The thing is, people take it. See, this is why we can't have nice things, because people take advantage of that. They create everything using AI. They then monetize. And I do understand how creators who are painstakingly animating or creating their own videos, how they would feel some type of way off of a channel that is monetizing off of completely AI things. And I've worked and I have like nothing. So I get that.
All right. Just want to make sure, how much time do you have? More time?
I have a little more time. 11 is when I have to be on.
Okay, so let me see if we can get some more things and hopefully give you a break before you do biz chips. So let me ask you something here. So independent creators still rely on platforms like YouTube and Instagram.
Yeah.
Are we truly independent if the algorithm can silence or bury us?
Your content is independent. Your platform is not. So you always own your content. You always have that. It's just now you have to choose where to put your content. For many creators, it's going to be someplace that already has a place where they will be discoverable. However, on those places, you don't own them. They can decide to take down your entire channel and then not give it back to you, right? They can decide you can't put this type of video out or silence this. There are all sorts of things that can happen. So I think use these platforms because that is where you can find an audience that can discover you. Discoverability is the key, but then drive them to something you actually own. So let's take Kirk Nugent and Nikki Saunders, for example. They both are on social media, right? Well, Nikki specific, even more, she's on TikTok, she's on Instagram, she does YouTube now, but she uses Mighty Networks and she's formed her own community called Deeper Than the Brand. Yes. So I'm part of that community, and she on Friday nights goes live on YouTube, etc. But then she also does specific lives within there. So you could do things like that. So that's a platform. And again, you pay for something like a Mighty Networks or a school, right? You pay for that community, but then you own all of that. I mean, unless you decide you don't want to use that anymore and you want to shift to another thing, but the platform doesn't own your content. They're not going to remove things for the most part. Right. You have that. I mean, the only other way to be truly, truly independent is for you to have your own server, and build your own platform on that. But here's the thing, is it worth the effort if it's going to take more time to drive people, to find people and drive them there? Because we also have to think about the psychology of the audience. Most people don't want to leave what they already know. And this is one more platform, which is why you have to be so charismatic that people will follow you into a volcano. But this is one more platform. And now you're asking me, out of all the 10 million I already have, to join something else? My dear, I don't want to, right? So you have to get them where they already are. Most people are on YouTube, and you don't have to sign in to watch YouTube, right? It's free. So now you've got an audience who is following you, and it's like, all right. And I've seen lots of creators do this where it's like, hey, you know what? You like this? I've also started a Substack. Follow me on Substack too, because then you can get more writing. And I've seen one creator who has some free things on Substack, but the deep, juicy stuff she keeps behind a paywall.
Yep.
So
I just out of curiosity, people are watching.
Yeah.
How many people here watching live or on replay have a Substack account? I'm very curious on that, because I do, and I live broadcast on Substack. Everything I do live is on Substack. So if you're a live streamer, I investigate or experiment broadcasting on the Substack. And one of the great things about the Substack platform is after you do a live broadcast, they produce shorts for you. And this is for free for now. There we go. So Ron Lewis says, I do.
He does.
Says, I do. Okay. So people, check it out. Frequency of Empire says, I've been around from a mighty long, networking has been around for a mighty long time. It amazes me why people don't do it more often. To the side, and no capping, I could listen to Dr. Tachi all day. There you go.
Thank you. So I'm useful sometimes, huh?
Also, Senior's case as Attorney Crump put forth a lawsuit claiming that companies are making fake AI generated African American platforms to defame Black celebrities and spread misinformation.
Yeah, and in addition to that, there are people that are using personas of Black creators to make money for themselves, because Black sells. Always bet on Black. We are huge. Not only are we huge consumers, we are also, contrary to what people like to say, we support Black people. Black people support. We always talk about, well, they want, sometimes, okay, let's be clear. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we need to do better. But for the most part, when I've seen personal anecdotes, people are like, oh yeah, no, we definitely want to support them. They're a Black creator. It's a Black business. We support each other. Those companies want a piece of that money. They have everything else, but they also want a piece of this.
Cha-ching.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Dang.
It's money. So they'll be dissing. They already lie. Why would they not lie and say who they are? In fact, there is this one, it reminds me really so much of this. I teach for the University of Maryland Global Campus, which is part of the University of Maryland system, even though I live in Florida. So there was, yeah, that's the beauty of digital. They brought me on to write some of the lessons when it comes to digital and AI. So I wrote like a whole series of things for them in terms of that. And I was talking specifically about AI influencers in that one. And so it reminded me of, there is an AI influencer, and I can't remember the name of it, but you probably have seen her or it, half Black and half Japanese, I think. And paints herself, one side is Black and the other side is Japanese. And there's a whole backstory. She's supposed to be half Nigerian, half Japanese. And there's a whole backstory to this. But when you read this, it's like you are really profiting off of the stories of these two people of melanation.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many like that. And this is why we have to be careful who we follow. We have to be careful when it comes to things like AI influencers and AI influencing. And this is why when it comes to creating video, look, I've been taking an into AI filmmaking or film creation for a few months now. I've been taking amazing courses and amazing classes, and I'm in a school community. But what it's about is creativity. It's not about trying to fool people into thinking X so that I can profit. So just be careful.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Be 100% careful now. Okay, let's go back to the comments here. Okay. We talk about, Thaddeus says, we talk about that in the indie film space, micro content on a platform, full content on our site. Like that.
Excellent.
That. Well done. And it's also write the marketing dollars to acquire a new eyeball.
It's too much, I think, that you would have to spend to bring people to some place to Neverland that they've never heard of, or like they used to say on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, someplace else. To take them to someplace else, use what's already there.
Exactly.
And then you could bring them to someplace else.
Food Plane says, I've heard of it, don't know nothing about Substack. I have to look into it. Yeah, take a look, experiment with it and see if it brings you an ROI. Thaddeus says it's another tool for creativity. Yeah. Again, don't overwhelm, but go spend energy where you're getting the best returns. Don't try to be everywhere.
That's foolishness.
It doesn't make any sense, and it's not the best use of the most valuable thing you have, your time. All right. Another few things we got here. Okay. Sure. So what monetization traps should creators avoid if they don't want to become independent in name only?
So let's say this again. What monetization
traps should creators avoid if they don't want to become independent in name only?
Okay. So what you're getting at, it seems, is that things that seem like they're independent but are really tied to a mainstream thing. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. And not to be funny with this, but sometimes we look at some of these streamers that seem to be independent, like a Tubi, right? Tubi is Fox.
Yep.
And at one point, their bread and butter is brown folk right now. Okay. When I say brown folk, I'm not just talking about like Hispanics, I'm talking about brown folk. So that's their bread and butter. They're making a lot of money off of our stories. And yeah, some of those stories are terrible. They're terrible, but they're there, right? And people are watching them, whether they're watching to laugh or watching to support, they're watching them. But somehow we think that something like a Tubi or Pluto or some of these are different. Well, let's remember that these are owned by corporate media entities. They have a different feel, but they're still owned by corporate media entities. So when we say we want to do the independent thing, and I'm not by no means telling you don't put stuff on Tubi, don't try and get your stuff on Pluto. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is that realize that that's still not, you're independent, but your platform is not.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I don't know. Is there anything as truly independent unless you are doing a play in the park? True. And even then you had to get a permit from some city office. So is there anything as something that is independent of everything? No. Your art is always dependent on something.
Okay. Food Plane says, what are the biggest challenges you foresee will be in content creation in the next 5 years?
I'm thinking, just as I was talking about before, this gentrification of the independent media space is only going to grow because People lack trust in mainstream media. So what do? They go independent, and they're going to places like YouTube. They're going to other places like TikTok. Never mind that these platforms are corporately owned. They're going to those places too, so that they can put these things out there. Excuse me. Let me sip for a minute. Okay, excuse me. So I think that we're only going to see more of that, and we'll see some independent creators that will be, it's already discouraging to create on YouTube, only get a few views for what you do. It can already be very discouraging.
Mhm.
So my thing is that we may see a few people not totally leave the space, but the ones who are like, I can't deal with this, will leave the space. But I see that there will be a transformation in the ownership of spaces. So more people looking toward, all right, how can I really actually own this space? Because that's the conversation here. It's the same thing with the music industry and how people, everybody, I remember, and I've said this before, when I taught at Morgan State, I did a project with my students called the Media Content Creation Project. And that was like in the early 2000s. I did this with them. So they could pick anything in the media and make it an independent venture and present what it was. I had 10 million people that wanted to do a record label. Some of them I have to say, okay, can you pick something else? Because too many of you are wanting to do that. But they were kept doing that. So I had a conversation with them and I said, it's fine to have a record label, because in my head, I already kind of knew, excuse me, based off of what we saw with Napster, etc., that a change was coming to the music industry. So the power is not in your label and producing artists. The power is in distribution. And that's what you should be looking at. So I'm thinking that more people are going to understand that the power is in distribution. And how can I have more control over that distribution? So that's what I think we're going to see more people looking at ownership, meaning I've got a Mighty Networks account. I'm going to start my own community and channel. I also see it coming away from just considering them as audience and really looking at building community. That's what it should be now. But I think more people are concerned about audience. Less concerned about audience and more concerned about building community. And I know community is not your favorite word, Dr. Vibe, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fitness IQ Cam says, morning. Good morning, Fitness IQ Cam. Hope you and your family are fine and safe. Do I have permission to add on what you said by the question by our man? I'll put it back up here. So I'll be brief. A few challenges. First of all, algorithm dependence and platform instability. So platforms are changing faster and in less predictable ways, which means reach can drop overnight with no warning. So most platforms optimize advertiser ROI, not creator reach. So even large channels often reach only a small fraction of their followers organically. Also, there's things like regulatory and platform shocks, TikTok ban, that show millions of followers can be inaccessible because of decisions outside of the creator's challenge. So why is that a challenge? Independence built on only one or two platforms is fragile. Dr. Tachi's been chatting about that. So creators must design for portability. We haven't used it today. Email lists.
Yeah, no, definitely. You should always, and I'm talking to myself here because I really need to be better with that.
I'm same here, 100%.
And that's because I'm like, my thing is like, listen, I don't feel like sending out something all the time, because really, in order for somebody to be and stay on your email list, they need to feel like they're getting value from something, from what you do. So I'm like, well, I need to produce something valuable then to really convince somebody to stay on an email list. And in my head, I was like, I don't feel like doing that. But your email list is something you actually own. So when it comes to you're having an event, you're having a course, you've got a book coming out, this is where you can really shine.
You know what? I'm actually thinking I was going to give a whole list, but I'm thinking maybe it's conversation that you and I can host next month about, the 5 biggest challenges, or the biggest challenges over the next 5 years for independent content creators. Because
Sure.
I've got a list here of 6 things, and we could go into each one of them.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
Okay,
Good. We've
so-
already got the topic for next month.
Yeah. So food plan, I'm just gonna stop at that one. But next month, at the end of next month, Dr. Chad and her and I will tag team about the biggest challenges for content creators in the next 5 years. Are you good with that, food plan? You better, because we're gonna hold off here.
Because that's what we're doing.
Yeah. So Thaddeus says, I'm totally championing that thought process in the indie film space, community experience and ownership.
Yeah.
Also says, changes overnight. All those issues are symptom of a bigger issue, influence of the audience and your ownership of your content. Platforms do change, so you must be ready.
Absolutely.
So we'll do that next month. The biggest challenges for independent content creators for the next 5 years. So we've got our topic for the next conversation. Let me see. Anyone else got some things to say? Because we want to get Dr. Tatcha a break before she has to move again to another space. Okay, I've got 2 things. Which one do I want to ask first? Okay, what's the biggest myth about independent creators that keeps people from starting?
That keeps people from starting. I think that you have to have, because even though we talk about creators that do it with a Fisher-Price camera, we do increasingly see creators that are spending money on equipment to up-level the look. And I think for some people that can be daunting and prevent them from even start. Oh, well, I don't have this. When I get this, well, no, that's the process of start now. Just do it, right? Start where you are, and then respect your audience enough to get better. And because not everybody can do this. Listen, the equipment I have, you thought I dropped money in one fell swoop? No, ma'am, no, sir. Over time. Yeah. So as I see, this is the thing. So Dr. Vibe, you know I love fashion and all of that type of stuff.
By the way, lovely chapeau on you today, by the way.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah. Something different.
Yeah.
So I love fashion and all of that, but you know what I will spend money on first? A piece of equipment. As fashion girly as I am, I will spend money on equipment first. So every Christmas, usually, my mother would always give me some money. So I would be on sites like B&H. I'm like, ooh, what's new out? Because that's what I would buy. I would always buy a new microphone, look at new cameras. That's why I have 15 microphones now. But
same here. Second last conversation piece. For someone watching who still relies on mainstream exposure, guest spots, traditional interviews, what's a realistic first step towards real independence?
Take those same spots and put them on independent platforms, meaning attempt to get interviews on independent platforms. So that same pitching process that you do with the mainstream, which is great, do those, but also add in the independents.
Okay. And then we'll close it off this. We'll give you a break before the top of the hour. How do you define ownership as a creator in 2026? What do you insist on owning?
Me, or you're saying in general?
In general. For like if people are independent content creators, how do you define ownership as a creator in 2026? And what do you suggest to independent content creators on owning?
Ownership is full control of your content that you created, whether or not you shoot it or whatever the case may be, but you came up with a concept, you executed, it's yours. Don't give up ownership of that, because what ends up happening, and I don't know exactly what happened in the case with Kevin Fredericks and known as Kev on Stage, and he had a show on BET Plus called Churchy. It was a show that he started through he had a production company and an app called Kev on Stage Studios. It still exists, I think, but he doesn't do as much on it. So he was producing it for that. BET saw it and they had meetings, and or I think he pitched it, and it was on BET Plus for I think 2 seasons, and then it stopped. So I don't know the exact case, whether or not he decided to stop producing it, or if it was, he's too smart for this, or if it was that BET really acquired the rights to it and then he really couldn't produce anymore. So I don't know how it went, but let's say that it was the latter. Just out of example, own your content. Don't sign over the rights to things that you own, because then it's going to be a time if they ever get rid of you. Because let's be real, some people play these reindeer games where they're only acquiring you to acquire your stuff. And once they have your stuff, they will get rid of you. So hold on to don't give rights away to the things that you want to keep the rights of.
There you go. And I guess an indirect example is many people remember the show Different Strokes.
Yes.
Okay. People may not, and the character Whitley was played by Jasmine Guy. People may not realize it. People, when they see her live, oh, can man give us that Whitley voice? She can't use it. The company, I think it's Warner Brothers or whoever the production company, they trademarked it, so she can't even use that voice.
Yeah, there are so many characters, and this is why you cannot just be an actor. And acting is a fantastic field. You are not just an actor. Acting is incredibly difficult. That's not what I'm saying. But I would say you cannot only be an actor. You also have to be a business person. No matter what you're in, especially when you're an actor, you are basically an independent contractor, right? I don't know many that work for studios directly. They're independent contractors. So you have to be a business person and realize when something you created can be held because they'll own it. So just do your research. Be careful. You have to be a business person. You have to know a little bit of law and all of that.
And hire good people.
Hire
good trustworthy people who have and check their references or get references from them. All right.
Yeah.
Frequency Event Poster says Dr. Vibe, Dr. Tachi, I will send an email before end of day. Please note there are several potential venues I have in mind for our proposed talk of a planning focused network event. Well, you better think of, if you're doing it physically, it better be in the summer because Dr. Tachi ain't coming up fall, winter, spring.
It's like you want me to come to Canada in winter.
All right. It says gotta run, but looking forward to connecting if time, space, and opportunity plays itself also. And he also says to all your listeners, Dr. Vibe, have an awesome weekend. We shall do that. Let me see. Anna says, yes, protect you first. That is a great final message. Dr. Tachi.
Yes.
Thank you again.
Thank you. And thank everybody who came. We had a nice, robust audience today.
Got to thank the Dr. Tachi family. They were on fire today. And for those who love Dr. Tachi, she'll be back on a platform tomorrow with me at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, prime time Saturday with Aisha and Lala. She'll be guesting on that and get a different side of Dr. Tachi tomorrow afternoon. But you can get a hold of her at Linktree, linktr.ee/dr_Tachi. So let me do the final shout outs here. Also, if you want to get a hold of my co-host Ryan Knight, it's Ryan O'Neill Knight, Knight with a KN, not an N.com. And you can find out more about myself, easy, taplink.cc/the.dr.vibeshow.com. And you can watch replays of this epic conversation, the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, Afro-Caribbean Business Network on YouTube, and Ryan O'Neill Knight on YouTube. I think we've got one more message. Did someone say, oh, Cheryl says, thank you all so much. Biz life changing. Oh, okay.
Good.
Fantastic. And If you want, subscribe to the channel. But already, I think it's the first time we've come up in real time. Our next conversation topic is good to go. So we'll be talking about, the biggest challenges at the end of next month, the last Friday of next month, the biggest challenges for independent content creators over the next 5 years.
Yeah.
We got to get into it.
Yes.
As always, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes that's to get smaller, get stronger. Oh, by the way, QR code, if you swipe that in the corner, that'll take you to the YouTube page so you can subscribe. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions, aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both and make it better. And Dr. Tashi, we got to talk offline about what's going on at 60 Minutes and CBS News. That is all. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow because that is crazy.
That's a good topic. We'll talk tomorrow.
All right. God bless. Peace out. Keep the faith. Well, good. We'll catch you on the digital streets. Be well.